Success. The dictionary tells us it's the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. However, I have concluded that everyone defines success differently. For most, this means making lots of money or getting that perfect job. For my parents and my grandparents, it meant scrounging enough money for their next meal or making it another day without getting deported. Growing up, I learned about the tribulations in my family history. More specifically, how my parents achieved the American dream through education and hard work. Let me tell you a story. At the age of 15, when my mother came to this country, her first glimpse of San Diego was through the cover of the night, walking over a mountain from Mexico. The one thing that drew my mom and prior generations to this country was a chance for an education and a better life. They were willing to risk their life and their dignity to come here. Let's take a moment to let that sink in. Willing to risk your life for an education? My parents made sure that I understood why it was so important. However, what I was not given were the tools to take advantage of such a valuable gift. That is where AVID became the miraculous key to unlocking endless possibilities. At this point in the story, you might be expecting me to talk about how once I joined AVID, I immediately became a star student, and it only went up from there. As much as I wished it had happened that way, that's not the way things unfolded. In my case, an invisible obstacle was preventing me from reaching my fullest potential. At some point in my AVID journey, I had a 0.3 GPA. Wow. A 0.3 GPA? Could you imagine for a moment what my parents were feeling, or how you would feel if you were willing to sacrifice so much to give your child the education that you couldn't have, just to turn around and have them deliver a 0.3 GPA? My family and I couldn't quite understand how I could stay up till 3 a.m. doing homework, but somehow still have 23 missing assignments. Even when my emotional state and my GPA were at their lowest, my parents would still say, "Yo creo en ti." I believe in you. However, believing wasn't enough for me anymore. After many meetings with concerned teachers, counselors, and my pediatrician, my doctor told me that I have ADHD. This disorder is starting to become more of a buzzword, but most people don't truly understand what it is like to live with it. There is a deep emotional toll with having ADHD beyond being distracted all the time or not being able to sit still. Not to mention the effects it can have on your academics that are truly devastating. AVID began to help me on a personal level by not just teaching me to work around it, but to work with it, to figure out what learning strategies fit me best and to incorporate those into my other classes. For example, having a 504 plan and most recently now an IEP. I have special accommodations such as extra time on assignments or getting brain breaks. On the surface, these changes might seem small. However, it has had a significant impact on my overall school experience. With these disadvantages, it would have been much easier for everyone to lower their expectations of me and what I am capable of. And it certainly would have been easier to lower the expectations of myself. Yet the story takes another turn. I decided to raise the expectations, to compete to be one of this year's speakers, and ironically enough, here I am before you. I'm very grateful that my parents believed in me, and equally fortunate that teachers like Ms. Matatia, didn't let me give up on myself. Ms. Montatia was my first AVID teacher from Twin Peaks Middle School, who took time to have meetings with my parents and counselors, who defended me every time a student tried to call me stupid or when a teacher tried to say I didn't care about my education. And to fully appreciate how much effort she put in, she even volunteered to come with me to ask my teachers questions because she knew how hard it was for me to speak up for myself. Now, do all AVID teachers do that? I don't know. Maybe they do. But the effect it had on me was big enough to honestly not just change the way I saw myself, but the way I approached all problems school-related. To become a self-advocate and to ask for help when I am struggling. I'm also fortunate that this kind of support has continued into high school. My success has not been limited to academics. It has strengthened my leadership skills as well. I was elected vice president of the AVID Leadership Council and was one of the few students selected to go to the 2022 Summer Institute. So now returning this year as a student leader, as a student speaker is honestly surreal. I recently won my first scholarship of $200 from College Bound for being one of the most improved freshmen. In these next 3 years of high school, with the help and support from my AVID teachers, I will be applying for many more scholarship opportunities. I know that AVID will help me in the future to apply and be accepted into a university of my choice. AVID has pushed me to achieve things my family would have seen as impossible. For example, even being able to share my story is something my family wouldn't have been able to do out of fear of the consequences. AVID is teaching me to set ambitious goals for myself, such as eventually getting accepted into my dream school, Oxford University in England, to study political science and become an attorney. However, this is not set in stone. I have 3 more years to learn more about myself and different career paths. So by the end of my high school career, I will feel confident in whatever direction I choose. And someday, when my parents watch me walk across the stage and receive a diploma, having gone through so much to bring me here, all that sacrifice will have been worth it. And I will have redefined what success means for myself, my family, and future generations to come. And it will have been because of all the support and tools from AVID.